The Catholic Archbishop of Abuja, Most Reverend Ignatius Kaigama, has called on aspiring leaders to see leadership from the aspect of service and not of selfish ambition. Archbishop Kaigama stated this in his homily during the pastoral visit to Holy Cross Parish, Gwarimpa, Abuja.
When people are looking for leadership positions in our country, what are they looking for? It should be to serve. When there are elections, I am sure right now we are talking elections held in, is it Edo State or somewhere? We hope that when the results are out, there will be those who were elected by the will of the people, and then they will be ready to serve with all their hearts, with all their strength, with all their resources and everything they have. That is what leadership is about. It's about service. And when you serve well, you don't ignore anybody. You include everybody, the weak, the poor, the marginalized, the disadvantaged. You make sure you include them. You don't focus on yourself. Our leaders believe that greatness means acquiring possessions, occupying positions. Greatness consists in our attitude and disposition towards the poor and the lowly. One Thomas Kyle said, "A great man shows his greatness by the way he treats little men, little women." That is what greatness is made of. But in our country, when you acquire positions, you feel you have become a lord and master. People should bow, people should crawl, people should come begging and all that, instead of you rendering service selflessly to the people in need. So we must cultivate the culture of service. Then we must also cultivate a culture of wisdom and honesty. As I said, in acquiring power and position, it must be for service. It must be to help those who need to be helped. If we serve well and we are guided by wisdom and honesty in our authority, we will discover that we shall serve economically well. We will be very decent in politics, and we will see prosperity in the society and peace among the people. But when we are not honest, when we are focused on the wisdom of the world instead of the wisdom of God, then we see disorderliness. So we must have the culture of honesty and wisdom.
Chief Shepherd also encouraged leaders to see leadership from the example of Christ Jesus, who is the servant leader.
Part of culture of civility, to be nice to one another. To be nice. It doesn't cost you anything to give a smile to your own brother or sister. It doesn't cost you anything, even if you are a leader, to offer a handshake to a poor person. But you will see our leaders, once they have reached that height, even to shake the hands of those who use their hands to vote for them, they find it so difficult. They are not able again. They are too big. They are not able to approach them again. We should be civil towards one another. And this will eliminate the conflicts that happen among us, the hatred that we witness. Many things will go well if we are civil to one another. So we remind those in authority, and not only those in authority, but all of us, to be nice, to be civil. After the Mass, try and find somebody. Don't just look for the people from your tribe. Look for somebody who maybe appears not too fine, too well, or too happy, and say, "Brother, sister, how are you?" Do that. Don't just look for your tribesmen or tribeswomen. Let us be civil to one another. The word of culture of humility Jesus has taught us to be humble. You look at yourself as nothing. You value others even above yourself. Humility. If we have humility, many things will go right. I tell you, we will come to the level of people who are poor, who are weak, people who have nothing, people who are sick and all. We will come to their own level. Jesus taught us an important lesson today on humility by placing the child, the little child, in the midst of his apostles. The apostles were struggling for power. They wanted to know who is the greatest. Jesus tells them that you should be like this little child. A child is dependent. A child is innocent. A child has no pride or arrogance. And he says we should be like the little children. If we aspire to be great, he says we must be servants. You see, God, who is great, is not afraid of humbling himself and putting himself last. But we who are nothing, we want to be above every other person, while God himself is humbling himself. Our Blessed Mother humbled herself, and she is our model in humility. Part of the culture of discipline, orderliness. Look at how you are seated, very, very orderly. When I was coming in procession, I saw people coming in. Perhaps they were late. They stood outside and waited so that the procession will enter the church first. That is orderliness. When I was coming, I saw seats being arranged, people arranging things in the proper order. That is orderliness. Look at how the choir are seated, very orderly. The commander, who was wearing a baggy gown, was commanding them like this, and they were all obeying. That is orderliness. Orderliness. Just 2 days ago, I arrived from a journey from abroad and in Lagos in the night, around 10 o'clock in the night. Another sister arrived with me at the same time. She came from another place. Come and see what we saw. Confusion. To find our bags was a problem. You have to fight. You have to struggle. Confusion. When I say confusion, I mean confusion. When we eventually found our bag after a long search, then to get a taxi outside, in the night, remember, come and see confusion again. People dragging you left, right, and center. People asking you for this and that. What did you bring for us? What have you for us? Jesus. When you arrive in some of our airports, you are ashamed. I traveled all over the place in different countries. Nobody asked me, what do you bring for us? When I came back home to Lagos, you travel, you go abroad, what do you bring?